call the Board of Selectmen's meeting for May 30th, 2023 back to order. We started tonight's meeting in executive session at 5 p.m. We discussed litigation related to 5 C Street. We will not be announcing anything tonight on that, as there is current litigation ongoing. And then in contract negotiations with non-union personnel, the fire chief, we did not get to the town administrator. Decisions were made, but nothing will be announced tonight. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, first order of business tonight is to reorganize the board. Annual second meeting of the board after the elections, we reorganize. So it's okay with the board. I'd like to start with a nomination, and I'd like to nominate Mary as chair.
I'd like to second that.
Okay, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Would like to make another nomination. I'd like to nominate Julie Kavanaugh as vice chair.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Mr.
Anyone
Chair?
else?
I'd like to nominate Jeff Handler as clerk.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Discussion? Mary?
I'd just like to say that I think it makes a great learning opportunity. That's what I did my first year on the board, and I think it's a great way to start.
Looking forward to it.
Good.
Let's vote first. After you vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, 5-0.
Now I'm looking forward to it.
And the other two, Don and I, will default to the interview committee.
There still has to be a vote.
Okay?
Oh.
Can we get a motion on that?
Oh, I move that Don Howell and Mike McCaskill be the interview committee.
Second.
Full circle.
Full circle.
All right, moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 5-0. Mary?
I'd like to open with thanking Michael. He saved me a year and took on a second year as chair, and I know he took some flack for that, but I really appreciate it, and it's one of my hopes is that I do as well as he does, and that he will nudge me when I'm off course like I have nudged him when he's off course.
Down.
So, no, truly, it's been quite an education watching him. I think he has an uncanny ability to let the conversation go for a certain amount of time and then just pull it in. And I feel like I'm going to struggle with that. I'm going to let it go and go and go. So I'm going to need help with that. So thank you so much, Michael.
Thank you, Mary.
So now I have to do this, right?
Now you're in. Got the gavel.
Public comments and announcements. Do we have anyone?
Card, which is a project that I've been working on with input from my clients for the past year. And the kids really wanted to be able to have places that they could call, or websites that they could go on to access information if they were worried about themselves or their friends. And very often, you know, I would have parents calling me saying, you know, who can I call about this? What are some great websites for my LGBTQ kids and stuff? So we designed this together, and on this side, where the stop sign is phone numbers of Harwich Youth Services, Bay Cove Mobile Crisis, the Samaritan Suicide Hotline, Domestic or Dating Violence, the Independence House, Recovery Build for kids that are worried about their substance use or friends, an alcohol and drug helpline, and Gosnold. Some of these are national and some are local. And then on the other side, and you can see you flip it this way, instead of like a book, just to make it more fun. GLSEN, the LGBTQ organization that's nationwide, RAIN, which is the National Anti-Abuse Network, drugfree.org, Recovery Build, and the National Eating Disorders Network. These are going to be distributed to all the kids in the high school next week during their JOSM advisories. And there'll be a press release going out to the parents, explaining that their kids will have this resource, which a lot of parents are really excited about too. So we're, in the fall, we're hoping to crank out a 7th grade resource card that would be a little bit more age appropriate. So, any questions?
Any questions from the board? No, just thank you very much, Sheila, that's fabulous. Can we make them available places like the library
Yes,
and the
yeah.
community center?
They were very inexpensive to make and print, so that's great. And I think that Police will have a lot of extras, and I have some at my office. Also, I sent this press releasey thing to all of your emails, so you'll have that. Okay.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
John?
John Torrey, 153 Gorham Road. And I just want to speak briefly on, congratulations, Mary, on your
Thank you.
chairmanship there. On the Route 39 and Chatham Road intersection. I read in the Chronicle yesterday about it, and I knew it was been an ongoing concern there. And these are just my own thoughts, and I'm just wondering if they will be incorporated into your thought process when you get down to, designing that road or whatever you do into that road. My suggestion is, it's just a thought again, is at the corner of Chatham Road and Lover's Lane, if you make a left to go up Chatham Road to 39, you would put a sign there that would say local residents or residents only, no exit. So no traffic would be allowed up there other than the 7 residents that live on that street. And at the far end, on 39 end, turning on to Chatham Road, there'd be another sign there that said no exit out of there. So if someone went by the first sign, they would see the second sign and it says no exit onto 39. Now, people coming on, that are on 39, going east on Chatham Road, that would not be a problem. They could still continue to do that and continue on through. I think a couple signs would be a lot less than redesigning the road. I saw an estimate in the paper of close to $400,000. That would be to design and construct a new exit there. And then also, I'm wondering if it is $400,000, and it was said that would try to find the money somewhere, Joe. I don't know where you're going to find it, but you can find it. Probably come out of the road maintenance budget, which we have $1.4 million. And I'm just wondering if we take the money out of there, what other projects were already scheduled for this year will not get done for this year for that $400,000. And a perfectly good example of this that Meredith, she left, pointed out to me. There's a road in Dennisport called Hall Road. It's right off of 28. Same exact scenario. That if you're on 28, you can turn onto Hall Road, no problem. But maybe a couple hundred feet down on Hall Road, there's a sign that says no entry. You can't come back up Hall Road and get onto 28. It's the same type of road. It's not not perpendicular. It's like the Chatham Road in 39. It's at a 45-degree angle, which makes seeing to the right very difficult. And I've heard that intersection, that corner of Chatham Road and 39, has been labeled Hope and Go. I personally do not use that exit. I just continue on up another 100 feet up Lover's Lane and get on 39 there. That's my only comment, if that could be possibly incorporated into your thought process for the intersection. I agree it's a dangerous intersection. I've heard of many accidents there, including one of our ambulances, I guess, got in an accident there. So thank you for your time, and congratulations again, Mary.
Thank you. John, do you have that in writing that you could email it to me and we could get it to the appropriate?
Yeah,
people?
it's just like I did for the
Great.
town meeting thing. I'm happy to do that, yeah.
That'd be
Thank you.
great, thank you. Anyone else for public comment? Not a big public here tonight. Okay, could I have a motion on the consent agenda? Here's your big chance, Jeff.
Sure. I would like to make a motion to approve the Select Board meeting minutes for May 15th, 2023.
You can do
Do
them
all
all.
three.
I can do them all?
Sorry.
Okay, also continuing my motion,
Can we switch seats?
vote, thanks, Michael.
Not yet.
Sorry.
Vote to approve the Assistant Town Administrator's recommendation to grant permission by NSTAR Electric Company, DBA Eversource Energy, for the purpose to install a 64-foot plus or minus of 1 to 3 inch conduit and one handhole 202/H14A at 82 Clearwater Drive. And C, accept the resignation of Judith Underwood, trustee of the Harwich Affordable Housing Trust Fund, effective May 19th, 2023.
Second, if you would include sending a letter of thanks to Judith for her service.
Board's pleasure.
That part of your motion?
That will be part of my motion,
Okay. That's part of your second, though?
That's part.
part of his second.
Okay, any discussion? We have a first and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I
5
will
to
abs-
0, Joe. New business, discussion and vote on proposed select board summer meeting schedule, which you should have all seen in your packet. Did you want to comment on this, Joe, or do we just need to vote on it?
Only comment would be, it's been past practice in other years, and certainly recommend approval by the board as presented.
Okay. Don?
Thank you, Madam Chair. If we do this, I think the one thing that got beguiling to us last year was that we had twice as much time between meetings and we used it. I'm hoping that there's several things that we wanted to start talking about for next town meeting that are non-monetary. I think it would be a good use of our time to make sure that by the time we get to the next meeting, each time that we start making progress now on those things. Because all of a sudden it's October and then we find ourselves like, oh gosh, we have to do a warrant now.
Right. Are you suggesting you don't want to go to every other
No,
week, or
that's
just that?
fine, but mentally, we shouldn't go into a vacation mode
Okay,
with half of the meetings. So there should be some movement.
so load them up.
Load them up. Not the agendas necessarily, but there's business in between.
Right,
We should be
right.
able to get back to us after each meeting.
Okay, anyone else?
Yeah, I would agree with Don. And this allows us to have a special meeting. So if we get a lot of topics that we don't think we can handle on a 2-week, every other week, we can call a special meeting. So this is not saying that we can't meet the other weeks. This is just a schedule to start to try and follow.
You want a
Okay.
motion of approval?
Yes, please.
So moved and as printed in the agenda.
Second.
Moved in second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 5-0, Joe. The next topic is kind of related. Back when I was, I think, running for selectman and talking to a friend of mine who had been a selectman, he talked about, in the town he was in, they had a lot of working sessions. And it just struck me like it might be something we could try. They're similar to a meeting in that they're open to the public, there's a posted agenda, you publish meetings, so that part's the same. The difference is, they're not televised, there's no public comment, and we're sitting around a table, eyeball to eyeball, instead of, like, to tell the truth up here. And I think it just makes for a better conversation, a better relationship amongst us. So I would like to propose we do a few of those, and I'd like to start with June 12th. Take next week as a regular meeting, but June 12th, I'd like to have a working session specifically to talk about our goals for the following year. I think it's a good place to start, to see what's important to each of you. I know I'm responsible to set the agenda, but I want to make sure the agenda is what all 5 of us want.
That's one of our meetings.
Oh, you've got that as a summer meeting? June 12th?
So I think if you're looking to alternate,
Yeah.
your first opportunity, based on the summer schedule you just approved, would be June
June
19th.
19th. Correction, June 19th. But that's the concept, and I'd like to hear comments, how you feel about that. Michael?
Great idea.
Thank you.
Juneteenth is that
So-
19th, though.
Oh,
That is
that's
a
true.
recognized
Yep,
holiday.
so it'll be June 20th.
What's that? I'm okay with Juneteenth.
Madam Chair, may,
Not state holiday.
They can't do it.
The building's closed, I think, June 20th. Anyone else?
yeah,
Jeff?
please, Madam Chair. Maybe I'm wrong, but I see here that the summer meeting schedule starts July 10th. In my packet, I have July 10th, not June.
Joe is trying to confuse you already.
It's not hard to do, Mr. Powers, is it? So I just want to make sure that, are we alternating starting in June?
Yeah, you're right.
I apologize.
That's why I thought I was okay with June 12th.
Wait a
But
minute.
We should
mortgage, I
re-vote
saw
on the
June
chair, I
12th.
don't know.
That does say,
My copy?
Can you see it?
Do I have the right copy or the wrong copy?
You have the right copy.
Okay, so,
June
board
12th
meeting?
is open.
Apparently, I have the wrong copy.
Apparently.
matter of fact, I'm still confused, but,
it's seven, like you said, it's 7.
okay.
That's the right copy?
So we
So
would,
so June 12th does work for our working session, assuming the rest of you, I hear one positive vote from Michael. Anyone else comment? Positive, negative?
I like the idea. I hate to say vacation. On that first day, 6/12, I'm not here.
6/12, you're not here.
Lacasios can make this stuff up.
Well, then maybe we should do it. Are you here the 20th, or is that when you're gone for 2 weeks?
No, I get back on the 17th.
Then why don't we do it for the 20th? Back to June 20th,
Okay,
which is a Tuesday.
right.
because of Juneteenth.
Understood,
19th, right.
understood. That works. Yeah.
Don?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The only thing I would add, if this is going to get us someplace, one thing, we did try for a while, a long time ago, to do this. If it's driven by a particular subject area, we're not trapped by, like, an agenda that looks like this.
Right.
If we can take a subject and beat it up by talking to each
Right.
other, it would be really advantageous for us.
And that's, I threw down some future topics. Monomoy School funding formula, housing, not to take anything away from our committee and the trust, but just to talk about some of the oddball stuff, like that Vail thing with the deed restrictions, if we want to do anything with Airbnb restrictions, those type of topics, and I'm sure there's many more.
Great idea.
Mr. Waystack, did you want to help us?
Just a quick question. First, congratulations, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McGaskill, for your service. You did say there will be no public comment at these work sessions, but they will be open meetings,
Correct, they're open to the public.
And-
Anyone can come.
and they will not be televised.
They will not be televised.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'd say we're all set for our first one, which will be June 20th. Okay, back to the agenda. Can I have a motion on C?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve a 2023 seasonal inn holders license renewal for Allen Harbor Inn, 326 Lower County Road.
Second.
Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
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 5-0, Joe?
Madam Chair, if I may,
Yes?
I move that we approve a one-day all-alcohol license for Hetch, Howard
Ecumenical Council for Housing.
Thank you, Dawn, Children's Center, event to be held June 11th, 2023, 12 PM to 4 PM, outside at 204 Sisson Road.
Second.
And I will be abstaining as having an apparent conflict of interest.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 0, and abstain 1. So we're 4 with 1 abstention, Joe.
It's different from abstaining.
What's that?
I wasn't here. That's not the same as abstaining. I take no vote at all. I'm not
Okay.
abstaining, I'm not for it, I'm not against it.
I'll continue if I may.
Sure?
Move that we approve a one-day wines and malt license, Pleasant Bay Boating Community, event to be held June 15th, 2023, 5 PM to 7 PM, outside at 228 Route 28.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 5-0, Joe? Can I take a motion on E?
I move to appoint Claudia Williams as trustee of the Harwich Affordable Housing Trust Fund effective May 30th, 2023, and term to expire June 30th, 2023.
Second.
Moved and seconded.
Oh.
Any discussion? Julie?
Well, the only thing I didn't do was go back and check the last dates that we had, because didn't we appoint her in the
It's
previous?
for July 1st. is what we're-
Yeah, but this is only to fill in for the other term.
This is filling in the
Right,
resignation.
Till 7/1, right,
Correct.
just clarifying that.
Yep.
Okay, so I still second it.
Any other discussion? Don?
Yeah, I'm going to vote against this for two reasons. The first one is we lost half of our interview committee on Election Day, and the resignation wasn't submitted until after that point. So I'm not sure how we got to even getting on the agenda, but it also just feels punitive. We're talking about one meeting, probably. She's already appointed for the next 3 years, starting on July 1st. It just seems wrong, after we just accepted the resignation, to fill something with less than 30 days. By the time she gets sworn in, it's going to be less than 30, and there's probably going to be one meeting involved. It's not going to hang them up for a quorum.
What's the harm?
I just think the optics are horrible. I'm not going to vote for it.
Okay. Anyone else? Julie?
But I did vote for her before. I just want to point that out.
Just to clarify, though, I believe that Patience reached out to Ms. Underwood because there had been some meetings she hadn't attended, and asked her if she was still interested in serving on that. That's what I recall, and I could have that misconstrued, but I believe that's what happened, because there was some missed meetings, and the idea was, what was she even interested in still sitting on? The board, the trust. And so, and then she resigned, and I understand what you're saying, I think, between the interview committee and all that, but the direction was to reach out and ask if she was still interested in serving the rest of her term.
Yeah, she's gone now.
Right, and then she resigned. So I don't want anyone to have any feelings that we're, pushing people off committees, but I think when people aren't attending certain meetings, at some point, we need to ask that question.
Jeff, Michael, any comments? You're all set?
Yeah, Madam Chair, thank you. Julie, thank you. That helps me a great deal because obviously I wasn't here for some of the things that had gone on previously. And if I'm understanding this correctly, we do not need to appoint Claudia, who I'm sure is a fine person, to have a quorum, I'm assuming. There's enough people on this. Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. Michael?
I'll just add that this is who we've selected to serve the next 3 years. So they've been interviewed by the interview committee, picked to be on it, and this is to fill it. Given the, I don't want to say lack of progress, but given what we're trying to do on the Housing Trust, if it's one meeting, a half a meeting, or a quarter of a meeting, having the person that we've picked for the next 3 years there seems important to me.
And I'll just add to that, having been at the last trust meeting, the trust was very anxious because Larry Ballantyne, the chair, read Judith's resignation letter there, and they were very anxious that we try to get Claudia to come in early. So they see the need. So where are we at here?
So if I may, Madam Chair, I was
Yes.
at that meeting with you as well.
That's right.
And I feel, as Selectman McCaskill feels, I think the sooner we get her going, the better. So I'm in support.
Okay. Do we already have a first and a second on
I
this?
seconded it.
Okay, so any more discussion? So I'm going to take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
So 4-1. Joe?
I move we appoint a member of the Select Board as trustee to the Harwich Affordable Housing Trust Fund.
You got to go a little further than that. Ooh.
Yeah, and when we get them, do we want to have a
Michael?
conversation first, or would you like a second for Jeff's motion, even though we'll have to add a person to the motion? Would you withdraw your motion until we have a conversation?
Sure, I'll withdraw the motion.
Okay.
So the point is, Larry Ballantyne was the selectman for the board, and now that Larry's not on it, we need to pick a member of the selectmen to continue on. And I personally would like to nominate, and this would have to be a motion, but I think discussion is appropriate first. I think Mary Anderson has not missed many of the Housing Trust meetings. She's participated as much as she is, and though she is now the chair, if she's willing to accept it, I think she'd be a great select board member on the Housing Trust.
I second that as long as Mary's willing to, I don't want to force you into something, but I think that's a great idea.
I am. Frankly, it was my interest in running for the board, and I've attended, I'd say all but maybe 2 or 3 meetings in my couple of years. So if it becomes too much, I'll ask that we put someone else in my place. But I do, one other thing while we're on that topic, unlike Michael, who knows absolutely everyone in town, every piece of property and every street, I don't have that knowledge. So I'm going to be looking to take some items and delegate them to different ones of you. You all have some expertise in areas that I've never dreamed of. So I'm hoping to not put as much time as Michael did in, and I have great respect for what he's done. So where are we?
So
We have a first and a second.
Yeah.
Well, that was just,
discussion?
this isn't a nomination, so this has to be
Oh.
done by motion.
Okay.
So now,
Now,
It's your big chance, Jeff.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Mary Anderson of the Select Board as trustee to the Harwich Affordable Housing Trust Fund
For a term
for a term,
to expire June 30th, 2025.
Second.
yes, I'll amend the motion.
Moved and seconded. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0, Joe?
thank you for taking that on, Mary.
You're very welcome. In the packet, there's a piece of paper that shows all of the committees and a liaison for each one. At this meeting, we typically redo that. So if all of you could let me know by June 9th your preferences for which committees you want to have, and I will try to make the magic work to keep everybody reasonably happy. H, review and take action. Joe, should you help us with this one? What is H?
So you should see in your packet a disclosure of
Oh,
appearance.
right.
Of conflict of interest. It is regarding a member, an appointed member of the Harwich Planning Board. This individual is appointed by you all, and so this individual has completed the form, answered all of the questions. I believe also spoke with the attorney of the day, so now the only item would be for the board to confirm that you've received it and you see no reason why, or no conflict as to why the individual could not continue to serve.
Is that something we need a motion on, Joe, or?
Thank you. I phoned a friend, and the answer is yes.
Okay, can I have a motion on H?
I make a motion, we review and take action on Mass General Law C-268A, Section 23B3, disclosure of appearance of conflict of interest form, Ann Tucker, Planning Board.
And that we don't see,
And that we, I'm sorry?
and that we don't see a problem.
And that we don't see a problem with that and support her position.
Second.
Discussion, Don?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to point out, so the public understands and we have a grasp of it, when I recuse myself, it's because I am the chair of a board. I have a fiduciary interest in the organization as such, and you can't have 2 fiduciary responsibilities. This is a person who's just volunteering.
Right.
So they're not in governance, and they have absolutely no fiduciary responsibility to the pantry.
Correct. Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? 5-0, Joe? Old business. Town administrator's update on ongoing projects.
Thank you, Madam Chair, if I may.
You may.
In your packet, you have a memorandum and an attachment that relates to the process that is underway, and it was a process that got underway immediately following the 2023 annual town meeting. I have met on several occasions with our department heads. We have reviewed 2 key documents, with at least one more document in the process of being constructed. The first document outlines the 57 items, for lack of a better word, that emanated from our most recent annual town meeting, projects, if you will, or various items that require various actions. The most common action required of those 57 items, for 39 of them, are procurement. So as you know, we have our procurement process, which seems to have worked well the last few years. The directive from me was for folks to prioritize their projects for fiscal year '24 based on the funding source. As you know, with free cash, it becomes immediately available, where most of the other funding sources are not available until the beginning of the fiscal year on July 1. Additionally, we reviewed outstanding items, and as you can see in my memorandum, that number comes to, I say roughly 50 because there's 1 or 2 that technically have been closed out, but there's more that are being added. And so there are 50 items, more or less, from prior fiscal years. The vast majority of those are procurement-based. And then the third document that I mentioned is making sure we as a team capture projects that didn't necessarily come out of town meeting votes. I think the best example that I can give on that one is the traffic flow in and around 204 Sisson Road. While there have been town meeting actions related to that building, procurements and projects to that, we recognize that for that property, we're going to be increasing government action there, so we want to make sure we partner with the Monomoy Regional School District, Harwich Elementary Police Department, so that neither building is impacted by what we expect to be increased government operation. So again, that doesn't derive directly from a town meeting action, but it's a key project, so there's a third one that I'm in the process of building with the team.
Last year, you had a nice spreadsheet for us. When can we expect the spreadsheet?
So I can produce them anytime. The 2 spreadsheets we have aren't identical, so we're trying to mesh them together to give one massive spreadsheet, if I could say that. The key item that I'm still working on is making sure we capture the other projects. So what I'd like to do is show you, this is what we have going on for procurement. This is where we're at with the 39 to 89, depending upon how it looks, as far as timelines and other projects related. So I can produce those anytime. I was hoping to have a few more weeks to get the other projects matched into that.
Okay, let's put it out 2 weeks then.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, if I could comment?
Yes, Michael?
Joe, is your intention is to put a timeline on that? And then when you present that to us, if the board has an issue with something, is that the time that you would like us to say? And I mean by way of 100 procurements or 100 projects. I'd hate to see the ones that could be done in an afternoon or 2 days wait 8 weeks to fall in line. And I'll give you an example, Queen Anne Road, the real estate that was approved to be sold. That one seems very easy to me. Open Go intersection, as we heard a week ago, is a very important topic to a lot of people. When do you want that feedback? When we get the spreadsheet?
Yes, and if I could, the fiscal year '24 has available start dates as far as funding. That's not the same as the project start date, as you've indicated. With a few of them, there's no reason why department heads shouldn't be working on those. The bigger effort was really matching up the number of projects with the number of available department heads. And so when you get the document, what you'll see is all of them having that similar information so that the board can then look at it and make priorities.
Did I understand it will show a deliverable date, though? You've got let's just take the Queen Anne Road property sale. You've got a proposed date that you want that
Correct.
accomplished. Okay,
Correct.
great, thank you. Anybody else, questions? Town Administrator's report.
I have,
Oh. John?
Where will that list be published to review by the public?
It'll be in our agenda, right? It'll be part of the agenda packet.
When it's presented to you, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. And that'll have a total cost and the date each project was initiated and
Not necessarily. I'll take my direction from the
Yeah.
board.
What does it typically have in it?
I mean, that's what I've seen before of reports like that. The date the project was approved and the total of all the projects added up.
This isn't a total budget, John.
No,
It's
no,
just
no,
going to
it's
be these specific
projects. Yeah,
projects.
it's those specific
Some
projects.
from this year, some from previous years.
Correct, yeah. And I've had a report that had each project, the year it was approved, the amount it was approved, and then at the very end, a total of all those projects. And I can show you a report. I've had that.
Sorry, my reaction was to, I heard, date the project began. There are at least 50 of these. Well, of the 50, there are several that predate me. So, and the time it would take to say when this started,
Yeah.
that's why I would rather take direction from the board as to what kind of information you're looking for, and then you can have public input.
I think what you produced last year was just fine, so why don't we stick with that format? And if you have questions after that, John, you
Okay.
can come
Yeah,
forward.
it's very simple. It's just when the project was approved, what year it was approved in, how much it was approved for, and at the bottom of the list, all those projects with a total. That's all I'm asking for. I'll wait till you see what you produce.
Let's let Joe produce what he's produced previously, which has worked very well.
Yeah,
And if you have questions, we'll entertain them.
thank you.
Joe, anything else?
No, I started to say the good news is I have nothing under town administrator's report. And I have already misspoken, I apologize. Sorry, I do have two announcements. They are personnel related. First is a Program Specialist 3, Town of Harwich Council on Aging. I have appointed Jen Anderson, and we hope to have Jen starting in that role on June 12th. And Laura Folletti has been appointed as Executive Assistant in the Harwich Building Department. You may recall I announced earlier that Leisha has been promoted to the Conservation Department, so Ms. Folletti is looking to start next week.
Great, that's wonderful.
Other than that, I have nothing to add.
Okay. I'd just like to point out, unless you guys have lengthy reports, I think I might have set a new record here. Thanks to some very nice agenda planning by my good buddy, Michael.
I do have one thing that's not selectmen's report, but a public comment announcement that I did not read earlier.
Okay.
Cindy Williams, Executive Director of the Cape, of the Chamber of Commerce. Barbecue competition Beef and Bones, June 10th, 4 to 8. Call Cindy at the Chamber to get tickets. So she said that there's a few tickets left to
Great.
make that announcement tonight. And I have no selectmen's report.
Okay. Jeff?
No, I think, well, I do. We breezed over the committee's vacancies.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to announce that I dropped off a application for a nice person that I met a couple of weeks ago who is interested in getting involved in some capacity. So we should be seeing Amy's application come through shortly.
That's great. Don?
Just that there were a number of us at Memorial Day, and I maintain again, that when you've got over 300 people showing up at the town green on Memorial Day for that kind of celebration, it's definitely a small-town America moment, and it's heartwarming.
Yes, it was. Michael?
I'm good.
Julie?
I'm good.
And I'm just going to add to Don's comments. Don did the proclamation from us and did an outstanding job as usual. Larry and I and Jeff were happy to kind of hide in the corner, and Larry was with me. Yeah, so you did a great job. Thank you, Don. And I'd like to also acknowledge a couple of the speakers. One was a World War II vet, Joseph McAleer. And his voice was a little shaky at times, but what an incredible message he gave to the town. He was so inspiring. And on the other end of the spectrum, we had a former Marine who's currently in our police force, Chris Arrigo. So a very young gentleman who spoke and was also very eloquent. So thanks to them, plus the Boy Scouts led us in the Pledge of Allegiance. the honors a cappella group, I think from the high school, sang. I don't think I'm forgetting anyone. It was a great ceremony. Who'd I forget?
The bugler who did.
Oh, the
taps.
bugler,
I have
yes.
seen mature adults who have played that instrument for years and
Yeah.
years melt under the pressure. Everything he did was perfect. I was so impressed with him.
And he looked about 12 or 13.
Yeah, that's hard to do on a regular bugle with
Yeah.
no valves.
Thank you for the reminder. Jeff?
Madam Chair, if I may, I do have one more thing to add before we adjourn here. Last meeting, and I'm very excited to announce this. Last week, at the swearing-in meeting, Alan Thompson was sworn in for, I don't even know how many terms. It's pretty amazing. He was sworn in, and then Mr. Thompson stood up and announced that this would be his last 3-year term. And, I thought immediately, I can't believe you're so selfish to only do 63 years of service for this town, Mr. Thompson. But I'm so glad you both made it in tonight, and I'm proud to announce that as of today, there were nomination papers turned in for Mr. Alan Thompson to enter into the Harwich Hall of Fame. And I'm proud to say that my father was the one who wanted to nominate you. And, Mr. Thompson, when I got the information from your daughter about your level of service to our town, it took me about an hour and 15 minutes to read everything. And from 1965 is when you started, with a loss, I might add. You and I have something in common with that. But from 1965, you have served our town in a way that I don't know if anyone else has ever. And being able to announce this, that you've been nominated, is something very special for me. I've known you my whole life, and my father's been one of your great friends. And this is just such a fantastic moment in time. And I think I speak for the entire board when I say that we are excited to see what the nominating committee comes back with for input and recommendations. But in my humble opinion, I don't think there's going to be one issue with you entering into the Harwich Hall of Fame. So I just wanted to say thank you.
I just have to say, I didn't, excuse me, I didn't realize my daughter was going to sneak off with my inventory. I hadn't quite finished. So I really have to say that somehow, my family has been involved. My Uncle Henry served as chairman of the school building committee for the high school on Sisson Road. My Uncle Harold, he served as a water commissioner to develop the water department. My father, he served at the fire department. And your grandfather was our chaperone on our Washington, D.C. senior trip. Oh, it was a wonderful time. And I have to say, I was just curious as for myself, how many different things. Like, I think the list she gave you, like 1987, wasn't filled in. And I actually forgot what I served on in 87. But for me, it has been rewarding. Growing up here, people were good to us. They were good to my family. And for me, after my military time, I came home and got involved. And it's just rewarding. And everybody should do a little something somewhere in their lives. I'm kind of hung up on it and have enjoyed every bit. And I thank my daughter, and I wasn't planning on doing anything with it except satisfy my own curiosity as to all the different boards, committees. And so many of them were rewarding, like the Historic Commission. I served with Cora Chase, who was my third grade school teacher, and she was a Dome. She grew up here. What history? You know, all that kind of stuff over the years. It's just a reward. So I don't know where it goes from here, but it's okay. I can't yell at her for doing it. But thank you. Thank you all. I'm not going anywhere. And it's been a real pleasure to serve with all the people that I have served with over the years. I mean, the changes and even this building. I think I'm on the plaque down there, you know, to remodel it, and it just, you know, the rewards are just so great, and I've enjoyed it. So, thank you.
You are very welcome, and you are a role model for all of Harwich. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
5-0.